Winacki here to break down our brand new NBC News poll on the president's first 50-plus days back in office. Always good to see you, Steve. So here we are, 8 weeks in. President Trump, voters responding to some of his policies. What do the numbers tell you about where the president stands right now?
Yeah, it's interesting, Craig. A lot of activity these past 2 months. Here's the approval rating for Donald Trump in our new poll. 47% of voters say they like the job he's doing. Now, put this in some context because I think this is the interesting part. Historically, these are all the modern presidents at this point, after just coming to office. Obama, George W. Bush. You can see at the bottom of the list would be Donald Trump at 47%. So historically speaking, this is low. However, if you compare it to Donald Trump's first term in 2017, this is actually about as good as Trump has done, a 47% approval rating in our poll. Also, what it suggests is that since the election, he hasn't grown his support, but that coalition that elected him still for right now does seem to be with him.
Hasn't lost the support either. What do the numbers tell us, Steve, about what's working for the president and where he may be a little vulnerable?
Yeah, what's keeping that coalition intact and maybe giving an opportunity to grow it? This would be number one. Border security, immigration, majority approval for Trump here, 55%. That goes beyond his base, who like how he's handled this. There's the big issue of the Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, Doge, they call it. We ask folks, good idea, bad idea. Plurality say good idea. So those may be working in Trump's favor overall. This isn't. The economy, inflation, two issues obviously that powered him to the White House. His approval rating on the economy, 44%. Inflation, just 42%. Majority.
Dude, this to me shows that these guys are incapable of seeing what's in front of them too. Like his support hasn't even diminished on the issue of the economy, as the economy has continued on the same trajectory, if not gotten worse. And these guys are not like, these guys aren't even being like, yeah, no, things are still bad.
Disapproval on both. And I'll tell you, in his first term, the economy was his one strong suit in polling. And right now, these are some of his worst numbers. Economy, inflation, two very important issues to Americans.
Have Democrats been able to capitalize at all on either one of these, the economy or the inflation?
Yeah, so logic would tell you if something is going south for the president politically.
No, they have not. No, they have not. Part of the problem with what's going on with Trump's approval rate and how unshakable it seems is because there's no counterbalance against it. There is no response coming from the Democratic establishment that actively communicates why people are feeling this harm and how Trump is fucking their lives over. It's great. Wonderful stuff overall.
It should help his opponents, and yet take a look at this. We ask folks their opinion of each party. It's not great for either one, positive or negative, but holy smokes, look at this, 27-55. They are 28 points, the Democrats, underwater on this, more negative than positive. And put this in context, the history of our NBC poll asking about the two parties. This negative 28 for Democrats is the worst ever recorded, and this is what's happened since the election. It's just fallen off a cliff for them.
The worst ever recorded?
Yes, for a party in our poll. Yep.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch
It is not surprising that the Democrats are this unpopular. It is, however, surprising that they did not even choose to change trajectory a little bit. Like they did not even fucking turn around and go, hey, maybe we should listen to you know what the left is saying about how much we suck dick. Nope. Time to be more do nothing Dems. They can't even be, bro, they can't even fake it anymore. Like, at least during the first Trump administration, they faked it. They faked being angry in an effort to like fundraise and stuff. Now you can't even get him to fake it. It's crazy. Oh. What? I already finished the thread. There's a Harry Enton on the CNN poll. There's a Harry Enton CNN poll as well on how unpopular the Democrats are.
Say, Democrats, call your office. You know, we're March Madness times. Terrible, 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 to quote the great Charles Barkley. View Democratic Party favorably. CNN SRS, look at this, 29%. NBC News, you want to go lower than that? How about 27%? Both are record lows, the lowest going back to 1992 in CNN polling, the lowest going back on record to 1990 in NBC News polling. The majority of Americans hold an unfavorable or negative view of the Democratic Party at this point. All I can say is I'm a big fan of the oldies, so I'm going to quote Chubby Checker, how low can you go?
Nice. Well done. With that, what about congressional Democrats specifically?
Yeah, what about congressional Democrats specifically? You think these numbers are low. How about this one? Holy Toledo. Voters' views of the Democrats in Congress among all voters disapprove, 68%. And look at the approved number, just 21%, even lower than the Democratic Party at large. This is the lowest on record for Democrats, according to Quinnipiac University polling. You think these numbers are bad? Let's go to this side of the screen. We'll look how.
I hate to say I told you so. First of all, Mike, you don't hate to say I told you so. You love saying it. But also, I didn't predict anything opposite of this. Like, yes, I'm familiar with the lack of interest from the Democratic Party. I said that it wasn't going to turn into fucking hashtag resistance liberalism like it did last time. And that, yes, people would honestly be even more frustrated as a consequence of this. The difference that you and I have, the difference in opinion that you and I have on this matter is that I'm not so confident that the Democratic Party is going to give way to a third party at all, and they're going to use whatever like remainder of the infrastructure they have to actively destroy third party initiatives, third party moments. So, I don't think that we're out of this yet. You know, I don't think that we're out of this at all. I don't know how we get out of this to begin with, but. Like, yes, I am also aware and said that this was most likely going to happen, and it is happening. The problem is, I don't even know how to get out of this. Like, I don't know how to get out of this situation with or without the Democratic Party. We're fucking cooked. Like, decentralized movements are not always they're not going to be successful. That's one aspect of this conversation. We have, this is like the Democratic Party is weaker than it's ever been. I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I don't think Bernie Sanders is going to launch a third party initiative. And without any sort of popular momentum from a well-established figure outside of the confines of the existing duopoly that still gets like a warm reception from the pre-existing duopoly, like a Bernie Sanders figure who's entirely too old at this point. The Democrats third-party initiatives will be foolhardy and will go the way of the Green Party. In any case, I've been saying this over and over again. Like, the Democrats are slowly but surely refusing to listen to the wishes of the largest subgroup of voters at this point. Like, they're basically treating everyone now like they did during the campaign if you were like in any way, shape, or form anti-genocide, where they were like, la 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 la, I don't want to hear you, you're fucking woke, shut the fuck up, right? That's how they campaigned during the campaign, and that's part of the reason why they fucking lost. Now they make it seem like these groups that are firmly within the Democratic Party's ecosystem, like these groups that the Democratic Party relies on and their own base of support, like, 65-year-old Debras and Barbaras who are actively saying, please fight back against the Trump administration. We're scared. What the fuck? They're calling them pro-Palestinian advocates at this point. They're treating them in the same way that they did people who were like understandably angry that the Democrats wouldn't do anything. Like, they are actively shitting on their own base at this point, like the entirety of their base, not even the activist part of their base, not even like the progressive part of their base, not even the young part of their base, the entirety of it. Once you're yelling at like 55-year-old moms and 65-year-old grandmas for telling you like do something, anything against the Trump administration, you're done. You have no support. You have no base support whatsoever. You can't fucking treat every single person like they are climate justice sunrise movement protesters. You shouldn't treat them that way either, but the Democrats have gone far too long mistreating its own base of support, the most active part of their base, and all of these grassroots movements with so much ire, with so much disdain. And now they're doing that to like, liberal ass grandma, MSNBC voters, MSNBC watchers. It's crazy. They are fucking disgusting.
Democratic voters feel, get this, the plurality of Democratic voters disapprove of Democrats in Congress at 49% and just 40.
Yeah, they want a fighter. Democrats want a fighter. They've always wanted a fighter. Anyone that has told you on television they do not want a fighter, that the Dems actually don't want to fight. They want someone who will capitulate and find the reasonable middle ground is a fucking moron. Democratic voters have always wanted a fighter. There's no better living, breathing, microcosmic example of this than me going on the Podjohns and basically saying the exact same things that I always say, but in front of an audience that seemingly had never heard this perspective before, where they were like, oh my God, I didn't fucking realize that there was like a different way possible. Like there was some different serious commentary, serious criticisms launched against Democrats that I agree with. They were shocked because they've been kept captive almost by MSNBC. It's truly alarming.
Percent approve. Horrible. Oh my goodness gracious, you just can't get worse than these numbers.
And this is the number right here really driving all of this. If Democratic voters have turned on Democrats in Congress and the Democratic Party, that's what puts the numbers at historic lows.
I was one of those people who didn't know what was possible or what I was missing because no one on the liberal side ever talked about it. Well, I'm glad you're here now. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you're seeing that we're not like fucking scary monsters in the way that like liberals actively present us. That's the other side of this. Not the Podjohns. They're fine. But there are a lot of like liberal content creators out there, even in independent media on YouTube and whatnot, who basically spend all of their time shitting on people like myself, shitting on people to the left of them. And the reason why they do that is because they want to do poison welling. Okay, I mean they want to well poison. They want to poison the well. They want to poison the well before you actually ever, on accident, reach my commentary, so that whenever you come in here, you don't have any sort of like charitability. You don't have any sort of charitability to the positions that I'm advocating for, and you immediately see me as like a hostile figure. Yeah, well the poison the well. Yeah, I fucked it up. I really appreciate your viewpoint. I always thought some of their takes were weird and weren't as angry as I was at things, and I thought I was just wrong. Poison Wellington.
What is it they want to be seeing, these voters?
What is going on? I'll tell you what's going on. They don't like what's coming out of some of those Senate Democrats like Chuck Schumer, because take a look at the direction of the party. Democratic voters on Democrats in Congress doing too little to oppose Donald Trump. Look at this, 77% should stay principled, even if it means nothing gets done in Washington, D.C. 60.
Like, this is virtually the entirety of the Democratic base of support, like the overwhelming majority, the super majority of the Democratic base of support, actively advocating for things that I've been saying and yelling about for fucking years. get to work, Democrats, right? And the Dems are just going, la, 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 la. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Shut the fuck up. The level of disdain and the level of disgust that they have for their entire base, not just like select few parts of their base, but the entirety of their base, is alarming. You work for us, you fucking animals. You work for us. We don't work for you. You work for us. That's why I get so angry at liberals who even come in here now and say, oh, aren't you worried about your decisions now? Kamala would never do this. It's like, dude, you are such a fucking moron. Democracy is not about team sports. You got to vote for one team over the other because the one team is going to be marginally better than the other. That's not how democracy is supposed to work. Democracy is about extracting concessions from your elected representatives. Okay? It's not team sports. What the fuck is wrong with you? The notion that like it's not, they didn't lose on their own merits or lack thereof, and it was actually because the voters failed the party, not the party failed the voters, is so insanely backwards. It's so twisted. It's so fucked up. And these are supposed to be the educated voters who are, who at least statistically have like a college education. They read the newspaper, right? They don't believe in fake news. Like, these are the liberals. And they have, they've destroyed their brain over and over. They're smoothing out their brain by watching too much MSNBC. Holy fuck.
65%. And this 65% is such a difference from where we were in 2017 at this point, when just 33% of Democrats say they should stay principled, compared to 59% who said they want to compromise. Democrats do not want compromise at this point. They want a fighter. They want to go into the ring like Muhammad Ali did against Sonny Liston. They want to take down the Republicans. They do not want this compromise anymore. They want to be more like Republicans, get up to that stage and fight. And right now they feel like their leaders in Congress are simply put not doing so. And that is why their approval rating for congressional Democrats is at an all-time low, even among Democrats with more disapproving than approving.
Yeah, it seems that the Senate Democrats, some of them are banking on the idea that there is still a political middle, as it were. We will see. We will see.
We will see if there's a political middle, but at this point, count me skeptical that that is at least what the Democratic base wants at this point. It's going to be very interesting, John, to see moving forward whether or not there are any repercussions come 2026, because I bet there may be some coming.
Harry M., thank you.
Thank you, my friend.
Sarah?
I feel like the most shocking part of that was how you dipped down and you were able to get back up without hearing any creaking or cracking. Nice to.
Yeah, here. Also, this is the other side of the story. Here, I'm going to give you that too. This is another example of this, hugging the middle, moderation, and hugging and kissing right-wing fascists. It doesn't work. Gavin Newsom wants to be president, okay? So what did he do? He set up a podcast. He heard that, like, podcasts are so important for winning elections. Guess what, dude? Here's new data on the reaction to Gavin Newsom's new podcast. Favorability amongst liberals has declined from 40% to 30%. While some Republicans agree with the stances, they overwhelmingly viewed him as insincere, calling him fake and pandering. His net favorability went from +4 to a -6 to a 10-point swing in the wrong direction. Only 13% of voters had an improved perception of him, and only 1 in 5 said the podcast made them want to tune in for more. It doesn't even work in the sphere of podcasting. And Democrats are so one note on this, like, let's hug and kiss the middle. Let's find this, like, reasonable moderate between fucking Steve Bannon and Gavin Newsom that they even fail at podcasting. I don't understand what these guys are doing. It feels like they just look to some of the most historically unpopular figures like Kyrsten Sinema or Joe Manchin within the Democratic Party, and they're like, we need to be more like that. Why? What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, you're at this point, it's just a podcast, right? It's just a podcast. You want to win an election, don't you? You want to win elections. You want to fucking have a successful podcast. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever to behave like this, to operate like this. It doesn't make sense at all. Jesus Christ. They're eroding. Looks like Democrats are saying we don't want to hug the middle. New NPC poll shows 2-1 Democratic leaders to fight back, even if it means partisan gridlock. It is funny to me, though. Like, they are at the very least honest, it seems. They are at the very least honest. Like, the Democrats seemingly are intellectually and morally consistent on this, where they're like, yeah, even if my podcast fucking fails, I still don't care. I'm still going to abide by this, like, weird...
These images.
I'm still going to abide by this weird-ass... this weird-ass attitude that there is some semblance of, like, if I were to advocate for the moderate middle, like, then magically someday people will come to terms with what I'm doing.
Are one of the reasons that Donald Trump's approval rating is tied with his highest approval rating ever, according to this NBC poll. Look at the numbers. Trump's approval rating is 47%. That's higher. I know that you might say more people disapprove, but that's always the way it is if you ask a Democrat about a Democratic president or a Republican president. But that's a really good number, an approval rating of almost 50%.
And 4 years ago, his first term, he was at 40% at this point. This is so significant. They asked people if we're on the right track in November. 25% said yes. Now they're asking people, are we on the right track as a country? 44% said yes. This is pretty astounding.
But not good when it comes to the Democratic Party right now.
That's the highest one.
Dems are partnering with more creators, though some worry about an over-reliance on the same friendly/safe group. Dems are so afraid of doing or saying any wrong thing, said Olivia Giuliana, who has not been invited to any creator events since the election. Who are they going to sign off on? Who are they going to work with?